what's the significance of UFOs? Like,
they're not coming from, well, I should say it this way. The significance of UFOs is multiple parts, but number one, it's not what you think it is. It's not coming from other planets. The evidence doesn't suggest that.
Interdimensional.
Yes, and the reason is because time is parallel. It's not linear. Or it's not like we start here and go forward in time. Time is side by side, which means everything in the past and the future is existing in this moment, but within different frequencies. So a civilization that's at the end of their technological cycle could build a submarine that changes its voltage and materializes in that same location, just into our timeline.
Okay, so you just saw Tom DeLonge from the band Blink-182 talk about something that is probably to an extent true, but it probably has to do with the knowledge of good and evil from the garden, and talking about this dimensional UFO situation. Now, you guys have to know that Tom DeLonge does all these interviews with CIA agents, and the CIA supposedly brought him in to understand and learn about UFOs. And these guys started another band called Angels and Airwaves. Well, gee whiz. Who's the prince and the power of the air? Satan, Ephesians 2:2. Who's the god of this world? Satan, 2 Corinthians 4:4. When the Bible says he's the God of this world, that means that if there's any large group or even smaller groups, but if there is any group of people with a serious amount of authority and power in this world, usually at the head, it's Satan. And that's what the God of this world means. He didn't create this world from nothing like God did, but he is, in all of the, the airwaves, so to speak. So my belief is that Tom DeLonge, before he was in Blink-182, before he started the band Angels and Airwaves, this was all planned out to put him. A lot of these entertainers, a lot of these celebrities, actors, politicians, most of them probably, if not all of them, were plants. They were planted there. Remember, Satan is the god of this world. And we saw all the celebrities and all the rock stars and all the politicians pushing the same agenda for the most part. When you see politicians or celebrities come out and go against the main agenda, like people like, I don't know, Roseanne Barr or maybe Shaquille O'Neal, they're called controlled opposition. They have to do that to make the people think, oh, well, they're not all in on it. This one's the good one. And, so they have to keep the stage set. They always have to have people believing this delusion that everything is not controlled, that everything is not planned out, that that everybody on the stage of the earth is not in on it, which they are. So it's called controlled opposition. And that's what a lot of these guys are. Alex Jones, etc. So again, you see Tom DeLonge talking about this deep scientific truth. And it is interesting to me, though, some partial truth there, because the Bible actually talks about things like this to an extent. The Bible gives us the idea that things are running parallel and linear. So there is a linear timeline from, back to front, but then there's a parallel timeline where it's all almost mushed together as one time, too, like Tom DeLonge was talking about. And we see this in the repeating of things. Even Jesus says it will be as the days of Noah. We see these repeating patterns in the Bible. You start out in the garden, you end up back in the garden in the book of Revelation. And so many more of these patterns repeating themselves. So that kind of shows the timeline running parallel, at the same time all at once. But then we also see an actual linear timeline from, the beginning of creation to, when the second coming of Christ is. So it's almost like it's both, really. See, Tom DeLonge is trying to tell you that it's only parallel, but it's actually linear also. There's a time where judgment time, right, where the powers that be will be stopped and have to answer to what they have done. And everybody will, to an extent. But, that is how the stage is run. That is how the stage is set. You have to give the people the illusion, you have to give the people the illusion of choice. You have to make the people believe that there is somebody for both sides. Because if one side doesn't have a representative, like if 100 people, if 100% of the celebrities were for the shot, right, then the people would rise up because they'd be like, well, we don't have a say, we don't have a voice, we don't have nobody speaking for us. So they have to get their controlled opposition. So then the public believes that well, there now we have a voice at the top of the ranks, so we don't have to rise up. It prevents an uprising for the people. It prevents, probably, chaos and war. But it's not right by doing it like that. But that's how it's done, right? And this is the left-right paradigm too. The same idea. When at the end of the day, the people on the stage that you watch from your television, they go and have lunch together, and they even show you having lunch together, and they're not really at odds. And for the most part, they could care less what you think because they're rich, they're living the life, and we're just the plebs, just like in the olden days. The plebs. That's it. We're the public. So until you catch on to this, you're still asleep. Sorry, but you don't get it yet. So the TV is, a type and shadow, or could be actually, but I don't know. It's definitely a type and shadow of the image of the beast. Where do you say who is the beast? Okay, let's say the beast is a guy. So where's his image gonna be? Well, it could be a high definition projection on your television, right? I've talked about that a couple videos ago. Could be that, or it could be, an artificially intelligent being combined with a human being. Could be a lot of things, but I know that there are more than one meanings to these things in the Bible. It's almost like it's multi-dimensional, or as I've said, multi-layered. So anyways, there it is.